Good evening. My name is Tom Myhra, and I'm a member of the Fridley Historical Society. Tonight it's my pleasure to interview Charles Johanson for the Fridley Historical Pioneer Project. Charlie Johanson, and that is the name that he's really known best by, is a member of a historical Fridley family, and that is a project of the society, is to get these people's recollection on tape. By the way, Charlie is, of course, a member of the Fridley, charter member of the Fridley Historical Society. On behalf of the society, Charlie, let me extend our thanks to you for being willing to have this interview tonight.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It will be a pleasure, I hope.
Okay, I'm sure it will. Thank you. Fridley history goes back, at least the settlement goes back to the middle of the 19th century. When was the Johanson name first associated with that of Fridley?
It was either 1873 or 1883.
That would be...
My grandfather came from downtown Minneapolis to Fridley and started the farm.
What do you mean by farming?
It was a dairy farm.
Okay.
All he had was cows. In this sand, you only grow, well, as I remember, it was corn and rye and oats and stuff like that. But my father was born on just off of Mississippi Street in 1890.
I've seen pictures of the house, Charlie. What was the farmstead? What was on the farmstead? Give me the kind of buildings that were on the farmstead.
Oh, we had the house, and we had the cow barn, we had the horse barn, we had the granary, we had the ice house, we had the machine shed.
Water supply? What kind of water supply?
We had a windmill.
Okay.
And a tank.
I've seen pictures of the house. Understand that lasted on until modern times when it burned. Describe the house to us.
It was a two-story house. I think it had 4 bedrooms upstairs. There wasn't a closet in the bedroom. There was a nail behind each door. There was no storm windows, no screens.
How many bedrooms in the house?
There was 5 bedrooms in the house.
You had a big family?
Yes, we did. We had, well, my folks' family wasn't so big, but our family, my dad, was a total of 10 kids. Okay.
Now, that's your father's family?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
What about your brothers and sisters? How many do you have?
I have, my father and 2 sisters are the only ones from
that generation.
The 1800s, 1900s.
Okay.
And then my father had 5 boys and 5 girls.
Okay.
And I'm the oldest.
Let's go back in Fridley a little bit, Charles. You're 14 years old, okay? And you're going to walk from your place to Sandy's restaurant. I understand there was a restaurant at that time there. What would you see as you walk from your house over to Sandy's?
Well, as we walked on the right side would be Tipperary Farm, okay, which is now a manufacturing plant. And on the left side was the 2 Christensen farms.
Okay. What was the road like?
It was sand.
Okay. You've now gotten us to university, okay?
Yeah. And university wasn't even there. It was just a trail. And at 14 there was, then the next thing we come to was a school. Okay. Which was where the Bronco Music Store used to be. That was the school. It was 2 rooms. We had 1 teacher.
Okay. Did you go over, and then I assume you're saying there were farms?
Oh yeah, all right. If we went on over to Sandy's,
whose farm?
Then there was Rydell Farm next to the school. Okay. And then the Herder Nelson Farm.
Did you?
The Herder Nelson on the left side and Farrell's on the right.
And the Herder house still sits there, doesn't it?
Still there.
Yeah.
And so is Jack Farrell's house.
You're now a young person. You said school. Where did you go to school?
District 14. District 20. 23 then, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, 8 grades, 1 teacher.
It's summertime now, so you're not in school. You're 12 years old. What was a typical day like for you? From the time you get up, Charlie, what was a typical day like?
Well, I had to get up.
What time did you get up at?
I don't know as I paid much attention to the hour, but I suppose 7 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock, yeah. had to milk the cow and feed and water the horses and take care of the chickens.
Okay.
And then we had breakfast, and then after breakfast, you'd have to put the cow out and
Okay.
generally had to chop wood, kindling wood or something.
Okay.
Hoe, I hate hoe and I hate weeding, even to this day.
Okay.
And I hate chickens.
If I was your age and living, would I see you during the day? Would you get together with kids your age, or?
No, very seldom.
Okay.
On Saturdays, we occasionally would get together.
Okay. Let's go back to the farm. It's now 1925. What can I buy in Fridley? What could I buy? Could I buy groceries in Fridley?
Oh yes, we had in 1925. We still had Plum grocery store down by the East River Road in the creek,
Okay.
and then the Gross Line store, which was on East River Road, on the corner of East River Road and Mississippi Street. And I think the Strouds had a little store, which was on Sandy's, but we seldom got that far.
Okay. Could I buy hardware?
No.
For clothing?
No.
Okay.
Our shopping was all done, and most of it in Camden.
And you get to Camden by
Horse and wagon.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a railroad track that ran from what? From down along
Oh, the streetcar, Anoka
the streetcar? Okay.
Yeah, that ran from Anoka to Minneapolis.
So you could take that down.
Oh yes, that run. The first one left Anoka at 6 o'clock. Got to Fridley at 7, and was downtown about 7:30. And the last one coming home at night was 10:10.
Did you ride it often?
Oh, yeah, as I grew older, I rode it often.
Okay. How often did your family get to Minneapolis in a week?
If you're talking prior to in my school years, probably twice a year.
Twice a year, okay.
Yeah, my mother would take one or two of us with her.
I remember that from my early days.
Yeah.
And that was an outing then you would
Yes,
go down.
and I remember down on 2nd Street in East Hennepin, there was a Sparta candy store. The old-fashioned stools with the sodas and that, and we'd catch the streetcar there. And M.W. Savage, which is a big, like Sears now, did a lot of the shopping, clothing shopping there.
We've talked about your day. What was a typical day like in the winter now, for your mother? What would a typical day like for your mother in the house? What kind of things would she have to do at that time? Typical day in the winter.
Well, you get a big family. She did most of her time, I think, cooking.
Cooking?
And each kid had its own chores to do. I remember on laundry day that we had a cistern pump, and I'd have to pump water for the boiler, which was on the stove, and then the wash tubs for the rinse water. It took quite a while, too, with it.
Yeah. Another question. I grew up on a farm also. Did your mother do some outside work other than working in the garden?
No.
No. Okay. Let's talk about clothing. Let's take you back. You're in the 6th grade. What would your clothing to school look like?
I had 2 pair of overalls and 2 blue camera shirts.
You say overalls?
Yeah,
bib overalls?
Bib overalls.
Okay. What kind of shoes did you wear?
M.W. Savage. I don't remember the shoes in particular.
You bought them on
We only wore shoes when we went to school.
Okay. So
And in the cold weather. We
Okay.
were barefooted in the summertime.
Okay. What about outerwear? Overcoats?
No, we had jackets. And I don't remember. I never had an overcoat. I don't.
You walked to school all the time?
Oh yes, we walked to school.
Okay. Let's talk about entertainment. Okay. Now from the family point of view, this is entertainment for the family. We do a lot of reading in our house. Did you have subscriptions to magazines?
No,
Okay. Books in the house?
no. We had books only that we got from school.
When you bring books home from school?
Yeah.
Okay. One time I read somewhere that at the Hayes Annex in the basement, they used to have home talent plays or something in there. Was that just ones that happened once in a while, or was that quite an often?
That was after I had grown,
Okay.
gotten through school. And they had it, my sisters were in it, and they did have some entertainment, but that was more up in the 30s.
Okay. Dancing?
Yeah, and they used to have basket socials, which if you're from the farm country,
Yes,
you will
I know
remember.
what it is. But for people that might not know, what is a basket social, Charlie?
Well, the girl brings a basket with the lunch, and the boys bid on it.
Okay, and
And the highest bidder gets the girl and the basket,
but he doesn't know ahead of time.
who it is.
Yeah.
Until he opens up, and there's her name. But if you had a special girlfriend, she'd tell you what it looked like, and then you'd bid on it.
And I'd watch which one you were bidding at
Yeah.
and run it up.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Clubs? Were the clubs 4-H? Not
4-H
yet.
club never came in my day. It came in the later day. Some of my younger sisters and brothers were in it.
Hunt? Did you hunt?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather had a 10-gauge double barrel.
Okay.
And the first time I shot it, I got up
Back.
afterwards and looked, but around the river, this area in here was real good duck hunting and pheasant hunting, and even prairie chickens.
Okay. Someone, well, we lived in Spring Lake Park for a while, and someone said that they'd remember coming up hunting exactly where our house was located.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I mentioned going over to Sandy's restaurant. Did you go to a restaurant to eat?
Never as a child, no.
Okay. Who used Sandy's restaurant then?
They had a little store there in a gas station, and the name was Stroud.
Okay.
And when Sandy's first came out, they had just this little store, and the restaurant came afterwards, and that was in later years.
Okay. So eating out just,
No, we never ate out.
that leads me, we live over on Able Street now. 2 doors down and across the street there's people we haven't ever met. How well did your family know the Pharaohs, some of the names you've told me?
Everybody knew everybody. When the Johansons would have a death, the McCrady's would dig the grave.
Okay.
When the McCrady's had a death, the Johansson would dig the grave.
So it
If
wasn't,
somebody was sick, everybody else brought something over.
there was a community out here.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Did you visit socially? Christmas time, did you get together at Christmas time?
Our relatives, the Gottwalds and the Gritzines, is our close relatives. And we had Christmas at our house always. Thanksgiving at Gottwalds, and New Year's at Gritzines. And then I had a godfather, his name is Jepson, and he had a farm up where the Catholic Church is, up in Spring Lake Park.
Okay.
And we used to go there once a year. In the summertime, we'd have like a farmer picnic. Used to be up where Cloverleaf Farm is,
Okay.
where everybody came. And we had a lot of things, but we look forward to them.
Did you wish as a youngster that you could live in a more exciting place like downtown Minneapolis?
No, no.
I've got a note in here to myself. Ask Charlie how much exchange you had with strangers. Apparently you didn't see a lot of strangers
Very
then.
few. We used to have tramps, what we call tramps, from the railroad would come and ask for something to eat.
Okay.
And my mother would always make them some sandwiches or something. And sometimes they'd split wood for it. And we had, a few times we had gypsies.
Gypsy troops.
Scared the hell out of them.
Okay. What about church now? The Lutheran church is what, in the 20s? Episcopalian church? People tend to belong to the same church?
Well, I belong to the Episcopal Church to begin with, which used to be on East River Road, and the graveyard is still there. And my dad belonged to it. We were both baptized in it. And then for lack of funds and a preacher, moved over to the Lutheran Church.
Okay.
So I was confirmed in the Lutheran Church.
Was that generally then most people in the area then?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Did the church, we think of church auxiliary, was there Ladies' Aid?
Oh, yeah, there was a ladies' aid. I remember my mother going to that.
Youth activities in the church?
No, I don't remember.
Charlie, I'm leading up to something. Where did boys and girls, we call it dating now, courtship. What did boys and girls do when they were courting each other? Where did they go? What did you do?
Well, I didn't do much courting. There was always in a group,
Okay.
like Wiener Roast.
Okay.
And it generally was associated with the church. It was like the class. No, there was very little courting.
So you didn't get the family buggy to go over to Camden to...
No, I got it once in a while to go up to Ina Nelson's up at Orchard Hill.
Just, by the way, and I'd just like to mention that for viewers that we're trying to get these people to get the recollections on tape, and if you want to do it, why be sure and call the Fridley Historical Society, and it's 571-6000 extension 223. Charlie, let's talk then about a little bit about school itself. As we've mentioned, I know you've had a long interest in school, know you were on the board and so forth. First off, we've talked about the school. Originally, there was a school near where Bronco Music.
Yeah, right.
And then about the 30, we got what we now call the Hayes Annex.
Yeah.
What was school like? What subjects did you have in school?
Reading, writing, arithmetic, and history, and grammar.
Okay. Today we hear, I'm in the school business, hear a lot of questions. Discipline is terrible, there's no control in school. What was discipline like in that school?
You minded.
Why?
You got whopped. The teacher whopped you. You got whopped when you got home. It didn't make a difference if you're right or wrong.
Your folks didn't come to school and threaten to sue?
No.
What did you do? Now you had recess. What kind of games would you play in school?
Oh, we played ball. They had swings, and when marble season, we played marbles. We used to try to drown gophers out in the ground, and we sneak way down the creek swimming once in a while at lunch hour.
You stole apples off the farrow tree, Charles. How would you be punished? How would your parents punish you? What did they do for punishment at home? They couldn't ground you, so...
No. Well, my dad wasn't a real tough guy, but he meant business.
And if you didn't, what was the final outcome?
He'd give you a whopping.
Okay. Was your mother a disciplinarian?
My mother did a lot of hollering, but she didn't do much whipping.
Okay, you recognized early on. We think of Fridley as being a settlement. If you had some kind of a civic problem and you wanted attention to it, today I'd call City Hall. What would you do? Who would you see if you had some kind of a civic problem in those days? Who would you see?
I guess the county would have been the only place you could have gone.
Okay. What about...
we did have, we had a constable,
Okay.
and we had the township. We had the three men in the township, and they could take care of some problems. They looked after the roads.
Okay.
And during the time, and this had to be in the early 20s, they built East River Road up with teams of horses, and they come with the camp wagons, with the cook wagon, and probably 30, 40 horses and scoops. That's the way they built the road.
Fresnos?
Fresnos, yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's the way they built the road.
And fire? Fire protection.
Oh, there was no such thing. I remember Freiberg's house burning and Mr. Plum trying to get the Camden fire station come out. They wouldn't do it.
So you just, you tried to
let
prevent
it burn.
Let it burn?
Yeah. We didn't have anything but pumps.
Okay. And police protection, you say you had a constable. That was somebody with the name of constable.
Yeah.
Okay. Voting, where did you vote?
I guess I always voted in the school, as far as I can remember.
Was your father ever elected office?
No, my Father never had an office. Incidentally, he went to the same school that I did, in the same building, in the same room.
Okay.
My uncle was a treasurer of the school district 23, and if I remember right, my grandfather was on the school board of 23.
Okay. And you served on the school board?
And I was one of the last 3-member school board.
Okay.
There was 3 of us on the board when I got on. I think that was 46.
And the Hayes school that blew down in the tornado
Was the one that we got built.
built, right? Okay, that was.
That the state said we couldn't do.
What about medical attention? You got sick. You're sick, Charlie. Mother says you've got a bad cold. I'm worried about pneumonia. What happened in your house?
Well, when you talk about being sick, you've heard about the flu. The
1918?
I had it.
What happened?
And the doctor from Camden came out either in the streetcar or the horse and buggy
Okay.
and gave me some pills, and that was it.
And you just
Either lived or died.
Did some people in Fridley that you recall die during that?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Dentist. You went
I
downtown?
never saw a dentist till I was 20 years old.
Okay. Glasses.
No glasses.
No glasses. Home remedies. Did you
Oh
pass
yeah,
them?
my grandfather had liniment.
Which-
He'd make us take liniment and sugar for a cold. You'd try it; it'll cure it. Cure you or kill you.
If you had to go to the hospital, where would you go?
There was no such a thing as a hospital.
Was there?
They were downtown hospitals, but I think one of my brothers was born in a hospital.
You were born at home.
I was born home.
Yes.
All the rest of them born home.
Okay. We've talked about something, I can remember when I was small, my folks tending to relate everything before World War I and the flu and so forth. What about the World War I? Now, you told me before we got on camera here that you do remember it. What did it mean to you? You were young at the time. What did it mean?
It didn't. The war didn't really mean anything to me. I didn't even suppose that there was a war going on. I was only 6, but I remember a tank coming down Mississippi Street and a soldier running into the school saying the war is over. And Miss Doyle let us all go out to the window and watch the tank go down the road.
What about the flu? Now, you said you were involved. What other kinds of major things have marked the history of Fridley that you would remember? We talked about.
What do you mean, in the form of disaster?
Yes, or anything that really,
Well, we had a tornado, I don't remember the year, 24, 26,
Okay.
that knocked the church over in our water tank.
So it was severe.
And yes, it was severe. And took Duval's house and that. The other major one that I remember was when the pole yard burnt.
What is the pole yard?
Where Onan's is now was the biggest pole yard in around. They made ties and telephone poles and treated them. And 90% of Fridley, Spring Lake Park, worked there.
I read in the paper about creosote.
Creosote, yeah.
That's what they were using to treat the poles.
Yeah.
So you got a good fire.
Yes, it was a hot fire.
They let it burn out, or they tried to stop it?
They tried to stop it, but they couldn't.
How long did it burn, do you think?
Oh, I guess it burned for a couple of days.
Okay. I can remember we moved here, in the early 60s. We had a bad flood in, 64, 65.
Mm-hmm.
Were floods a problem in early years?
No, see, it didn't bother anything, but you remember when it was flooded down here on the university. University's underwater.
Yep.
Well, in my dad's day, there was a creek that ran from there down to the river.
Oh.
And if you went over the railroad tracks, you would still find the bridge, the little bridge underneath of it.
Okay.
And then, of course, that got filled up, and buildings started to get built and stopped the water from running.
And they didn't have homes up on the river flats, I believe,
No,
at that time?
no.
Okay. There's maybe just a couple of other things we should talk about here, and I'd like to just get a little bit more Charlie, I'd kind of like to go through. I'd like to go through your life because we want to get that on tape. Okay. Without saying exactly when you were born. You said you were 6 years old in World War I. Okay. You finished your education in the Hayes Annex.
I had 8 grades. No, I was in the original school.
Oh, the Broncow School.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I went through 8 grades. But at that time, we had state tests. We had to take a state test, and you graduated. And then if you had funds available, you could go to a Minneapolis high school.
Did you?
I went to East High School, was vocational.
Okay.
I went there 1 year, and then I went to Dunwoody 1 year.
Okay. Then you
And I
came
studied.
out and started building homes. No, not yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. But then we were in the depths of depression then.
Okay,
And I
right.
started working after that.
Okay. So you did what?
Well, I started working
jobs
for
for
William P. Johnson Electric Company, delivering light bulbs on a bicycle, and I didn't know how to ride a bicycle because I never had one. $10 a week, 8
Was that
to
good money?
6.
Was that good money?
Well, it was a job.
That's a job. Okay. You lived at home?
I lived at home, and I give my mother $5 of the 10.
Okay.
And in the wintertime, it cost me $2.40 to ride a streetcar.
Did your folks need that money?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
We raised a lot of our own food, but we still, you had to have other things.
Okay. When did you get into the house building?
The day the war was over, I did a little building
Yes.
on my own prior to that time, but the day I was in the arms plant, and the day the war was over in 1945, I started building. I've never done anything else yet.
You've been a real builder for Fridley, Charlie.
Yeah.
We thank you for being with us, and we'd like to say that if you know somebody that would like to be interviewed, just get in touch with the Fridley Historical Society at 571-6000, extension 223. Thank you. And thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Well,
I would wait to see what it looks like.
yeah.